What were some of the lasting contributions of the Golden Age civilizations? For China, one of its long-lasting artifacts have been Emperor Shang Shihuangdi's terracotta soldiers. Let's observe. When you look at these sculptures, what do you see? Why do you think these were made? What could their purpose be? These restored sculptures are part of the Emperor Shang Shihuangdi's terracotta army. But why were they made? Who was Emperor Shang Shihuangdi? Emperor Shang Shihuangdi, also called the first emperor of China, was the founder of the first unified empire in the history of China. He established an autocratic, ruling with total power, state with centralized power over the feudal society. Shang Shihuangdi, named Zhang, was born in Hanan in the late Eastern Zhou dynasty. Legend has it that his father, prince of the Xin estate, was held hostage in the Zhao state until Lu Buwei, a wealthy merchant, secured his release back to the Xin. When he learned that his wife was pregnant, Lu Buwei encouraged the prince to fall in love with her and to think that the child was his. Lu Buwei did this because he wanted one of his own offspring to become the acknowledged heir to the throne. The plan worked. When the prince became King Shang of Xin, he made Lu Buwei his prime minister, and for the next 10 years, Lu was the ruling force in the state. On the throne. When King Shang died, his son, or rather Lu Buwei's son, came to the throne. This boy of 13 may be considered the real founder of the Shang dynasty. His name was Zhang, better known as Shang Shihuangdi, and took over the reins of government at 22. When the boy grew up, he discovered that his mother had been guilty of the gravest immoralities with Lu Buwei, who revealed that he was Zhang Sheng's natural father. He at once banished his mother to a fortress and dismissed Lu Buwei from his office, sending him home to his estate with a warning that any indiscretion, lack of good judgment or care in behavior, and especially in speech, would be severely punished. Afraid of the king's vengeance, Lu Buwei poisoned himself. Unification and expansion. Once he had complete control of the Xin estate, Yang set out to conquer the other 6 Chinese states. He took them on one by one. The first state he conquered was the Han state. Then he quickly conquered the Zhao and the Wei. Next he took on the powerful Chu state. Once the Chu state was defeated, the remaining Yang and Qi states fell easily. Now King Zhang was leader of all of China. He declared himself emperor and changed his name to Shang Shihuangdi, which meant first emperor. Important contributions. Shang Shihuangdi organized this empire by restructuring many parts, including government. Emperor Shang divided the country into administrative units. There were 36 commanderies, which were further divided into districts and counties. He also declared that government positions would be appointed by merit, a good quality or feature that deserves to be praised. Economy. Emperor Shang unified China by establishing a common currency, or money, and standard units of measure. With everyone using the same money or measurement, the economy ran much more smoothly. Writing. Under the leadership of Shang, everyone was expected to teach and use the same type or writing. Construction. Emperor Shang made a number of improvements to the infrastructure of China. He constructed a vast network of roads and canals throughout the country. This helped to make trade and travel more efficient. He also began to build the Great Wall of China during his reign. Iron Fist. Shang Shihuangdi was considered a ruthless tyrant. His empire was equivalent to the entire Roman Empire, and he was the ruler of all of it. Many historians credit Shang Shihuangdi with establishing the world's first truly centralized bureaucratic empire, not elected government officials involved in running a government. Shang collected taxes, administered justice, and trained bureaucrats all over China. He got rid of anyone who showed opposition or didn't agree with him. He was paranoid. His constant worry was about his inability to control such a vast empire with people of varying cultures and the 3 assassination attempts made on his life. Xin also feared the intellectuals of his society as much as the sword. Shang Shihuangdi wanted to be known as the first emperor of China, so he ordered that most of the existing books be burned. A Bridge to Eternity. Currently, Shang Shihuangdi may be most famous for his tomb. He had over 700,000 workers constructing his tomb throughout his life. Shang Shihuangdi was buried with the Terracotta army in court because he wanted to have the same military power and imperial status in the afterlife as he had enjoyed during his earthly lifetime. His workers built a vast terracotta army of 8,000 soldiers, horses, and chariots that he thought would protect him in the afterlife. The Terracotta Army is a collection of over 8,000 soldiers, chariots, and horses depicting Shihuangdi's army. Each life-size terracotta soldier is modeled on an actual person. They all have distinctive facial features and hairstyles. The officers are depicted as being taller than the foot soldiers, and the generals are the tallest of all. Although the upper classes may have had better nutrition than the lower classes, it is probable that the height of the terracotta soldiers is symbolic of the real-life soldier status rather than a reflection of their actual height. The figures were buried in 4 large pits along Huang in 210 to 209 BC. Farmers digging a well discovered the figures in 1974 in Shang province. End of his reign. Shang Shihuangdi was obsessed with trying to live forever, so he had his best scientists work on finding an elixir of immortality that would enable him to never die. Historians believe that Shang Shihuangdi died while traveling on a tour of eastern China in 210 BCE. Some have speculated that his death was due to mercury poisoning, which stemmed from the elixirs he was ingesting. Now that you have learned about Shang Shihuangdi, perhaps you can better understand the reasoning behind the lasting contributions of his dynasty. Consider, what was Emperor Shang Shihuangdi's main reason for creating the terracotta soldier army? What does this enormous building project indicate about the Shang dynasty, the emperor, or the presence of a golden age? Cite specific textual evidence to support your claim.